The lights flickered in the ancient chamber as dust fell from the ceiling. Professor Tack moved his six-fingered hand carefully over the strange markings on the wall. After 50 years of searching across 17 dead worlds, his team had finally found what they were looking for. "Come quickly," he called to his research team. These symbols matched the warning tablets. The rest of the team hurried over. There were 5 of them, all top researchers from the Galactic Academy. They had dedicated their careers to studying the mysterious extinction events that had swept through the galaxy 50,000 years ago. "Are you sure, Professor?" asked Lori, his blue-skinned assistant. Her 4 eyes blinked rapidly in excitement. Tack nodded and pointed his light at the wall. "Look at this symbol here. It matches the danger sign found on every ruins of that era." The symbol was simple but striking, a 5-pointed star with a circle around it. Below it were rows of strange markings that none of them had been able to fully translate yet. "It's a warning," said Jack, the team's language expert. His long green neck bent as he studied the markings. "Like all the others we found. But this one is different. It's more detailed." Jack connected his translator device to the wall and began scanning the symbols. The others waited anxiously. This dead world had once been home to one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, before they suddenly disappeared. "I'm getting something," Jack said after several minutes. His voice trembled slightly. "It says, beware the humans, the adaptable ones, the unpredictable danger." The chamber went silent. They had seen references to humans before, but never anything this clear. "Keep going," Tack urged. Jack continued scanning. "It says humans were quarantined to their home system after the Great Council meeting. Later, they were eliminated completely." He looked up with wide eyes. "This is the first confirmation that this species actually existed, and that they were deliberately wiped out." Rock, the team's historian, shook his head. "But why? What could one species do that would frighten the ancients so much?" "Look here," said Mira, the team's archaeologist. She had moved to another wall. "There's a hidden door." They all gathered around as Mira pressed on various symbols. With a grinding sound, a section of the wall slid open, revealing a small dark chamber beyond. Inside, they found rows of metal containers, each sealed with the same 5-pointed star symbol. "What are these?" asked Lori, reaching out to touch one. "Don't," warned Tack, but it was too late. Lori's touch activated an ancient system. Lights came on around the room, and a holographic image appeared in the center. The creature in the hologram looked strange to all of them. It stood on 2 legs, had 2 arms, and a head with only 2 eyes. Its skin seemed to have no scales or fur. "Is that a human?" whispered Mira. The hologram spoke in an unknown language, but their translators picked up fragments. "Final repository. Genetic samples. Preserve our species. Should anyone find this." Tack felt a chill run through his body. "These containers. They're preservation units. They contain human DNA." "We should report this immediately to the council," said Rock nervously. But Tack was already examining one of the containers. "Think of what we could learn. The only species that frightened the ancients so much they tried to erase them from existence." "The warning says they were dangerous," reminded Jack. "All species can be dangerous," replied Tack. "But what made humans so special that the ancients feared them above all others? Don't you want to know?" They all looked at each other. Their academic curiosity was too strong. "We'll just take one sample," Tack decided, "for scientific study only." As he carefully removed one of the containers, none of them noticed another symbol lighting up on the far wall, a warning beacon that had just sent a signal to a system that had been waiting for 50,000 years. The humans were about to return to a galaxy that had once decided they were too dangerous to exist. 6 months had passed since the discovery. Deep in a hidden lab on the edge of the Galactic Council's territory, Professor Tack and his team worked in secret. "The growth chambers are ready," said Lori, checking the final readings. The human DNA sequence has been fully mapped and repaired. Tack nodded, his eyes not leaving the glowing tube in the center of the lab. Inside, a small form was taking shape, the first human to exist in 50,000 years. "Are we sure about this?" asked Rock nervously. "The Council would execute us all if they knew." "The Council fears knowledge they don't control," Tack replied. "Besides, we've taken every safety measure. The humans will be contained and studied. We'll finally understand why the ancients feared them so much." The team had created 2 humans, one male and one female. The growth acceleration process had worked perfectly. And now 2 adult humans floated in the tubes, their bodies fully formed but their minds still blank. Tomorrow, they would wake them up. "What will we call them?" asked Mira. Tack had been studying the fragmented records they had found. According to the data, common human names were Thomas and Anna, simple names for our simple experiment. The next day, the first human opened his eyes. "Hello," said Tack slowly, using the language they had reconstructed from ancient records. "Can you understand me?" The human blinked, then sat up on the examination table. "Yes, I understand you." His voice was clear and calm. "My name is Thomas." Tack was surprised. "Yes, how did you know that?" "I heard you talking while I was waking up." Thomas looked around the lab with curious eyes. "Where am I? What am I?" The second human, Anna, woke up an hour later. She asked the same questions, but with a sharper edge to her voice. Over the next few weeks, the team was amazed by how quickly the humans learned. They absorbed language, science, and history at an incredible rate. By the 3rd week, they were having complex discussions about quantum physics that even Tack struggled to follow. "It's remarkable," Jack said during a private meeting. "Their brains make connections that ours don't. They see patterns we miss. And they ask questions we would never think to ask," added Lori. Yesterday, Thomas asked why the Galactic Council controls all faster than light travel. Not how. Why? I didn't have an answer. Rock looked worried. This is exactly what the warnings talked about. Their minds work differently. They're unpredictable. They're also kind, Mira pointed out. "Anna helped me fix the environmental system yesterday using a method I would never have considered." As the weeks passed, more concerns emerged. The humans began asking about their origins and why they were the only ones of their kind. They wanted to learn about Earth, their ancient home world. "We need to end this," Rock finally said after catching Thomas accessing restricted files. "They're too curious, too intelligent. We can't control them forever." "I agree," said Jack. The warnings were clear. We've learned enough. Tack was torn. The humans had shown no signs of the dangerous behavior the ancients had feared, but their rapid advancement was unsettling. After much debate, the team decided to terminate the experiment. But that night, the lab's security system was bypassed. Krell, the youngest team member who had grown close to the humans, had helped Thomas and Anna escape. "I couldn't let them die," Krell's message said. "They're people, not experiments. They deserve to live." By morning, the humans were gone, along with a small ship and several data drives containing information about the galaxy. An alarm spread through official channels. 2 humans, a species quarantined and eliminated 50,000 years ago, were loose in the galaxy. The hunt began. But Thomas and Anna were already far away, looking at star maps and planning their next move. Humanity had returned to the stars, and nothing would ever be the same again. The abandoned mining station hung in space like a forgotten toy. Once it had belonged to the Vex Mining Corporation, but after the ore ran out, they left it drifting at the edge of the outer rim. It was the perfect hiding place for 2 humans on the run. Thomas looked out through the viewport at the stars. 3 months since we escaped," he said quietly, "and we're still alive." Anna was working on a computer terminal, her fingers moving quickly across the alien keyboard. "Thanks to Krell. Without his help, we'd be dead." Krell had sacrificed much to help them. The young researcher had not only helped them escape, but had also provided them with a ship and valuable data. They hadn't heard from him since. "I've broken through another level of encryption," Anna said, not looking up from the screen. "The data Krell gave us contains maps of the entire galaxy, plus historical records dating back 100,000 years. Thomas moved to stand behind her. "Anything about Earth? About humans?" "Still searching. But I found something else." Anna pointed to a list of coordinates. "These are locations of other research outposts, places where scientists work outside of Council control." Thomas understood immediately. Places where we might find allies, or more humans. Their plan formed quickly. They would reach out to independent researchers and traders who operated on the fringes of galactic society. If they could find just one sympathetic group, they might gain protection and resources. The first contact was with a trader named Dorn, a four-armed merchant who dealt in rare goods. They offered him advanced calculation methods in exchange for supplies and information. "Fascinating," Dorn said when they met in a shadowy corner of a space station market. His upper arms crossed while his lower arms stroked his chin tentatively. "You developed these algorithms yourself." "We did," Anna replied. She didn't mention that it had taken them just 2 days. Dorn studied them with his 3 eyes. "The Council has sent alerts about dangerous fugitives. The description matches you too." Thomas tensed, ready to run. "Lucky for you," Dorn continued, "I don't much care what the Council wants. Their rules cut into my profits." More contacts followed. A scientist named Pell was amazed by Thomas's solution to a quantum energy problem. A ship captain named Grex offered them passage to the free colonies after Anna fixed his navigation system. Word spread quietly through underground networks. Strange beings with remarkable minds were offering help to those who needed it. 6 months after their escape, Thomas and Anna received a message from another human. "My name is John," the message said. "I was created in a lab on Centauri Station. I escaped 2 months ago. I'm not alone." Within weeks, they discovered the truth. They weren't the only humans who had been recreated from ancient DNA. At least 5 other research teams had conducted similar experiments, and more humans were escaping. On the mining station, their numbers grew. Thomas, Anna, John, and 7 other humans formed the first human community in 50,000 years. Each brought different knowledge stolen from the labs that had created them. "The Council fears us," Thomas told the group one night as they gathered in what had once been the station's mess hall. "But they won't tell anyone why. We need to find out what happened to Earth, what happened to humanity." "And why we're different," added Anna. She had been studying their brain patterns. "Our neural networks form connections differently than other species. We see possibilities they don't." John, who had been created by military researchers, looked troubled. "The Council has deployed hunter units to find us. Elite soldiers with orders to kill on sight." The room fell silent. "Then we need to split up," Thomas decided. "Multiple groups, multiple locations, will be harder to track." As they made plans to separate, news arrived from their network of allies. The Galactic Council had declared a galaxy-wide emergency. The official story claimed a dangerous biological threat had been accidentally released. The exodus of humanity had begun, but the galaxy was already moving to stop it. Commander Vex stood on the bridge of the Council warship Judgment. His scaled skin gleamed under the harsh lights as he studied the tactical display. "Another human sighting in the Cora system," his second-in-command reported. "That's the 3rd this month." Vex growled in frustration. For a year now, his elite unit had been hunting humans across the galaxy. Yet somehow, these primitives kept slipping away. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "They have inferior technology, no formal military training, and limited resources. Sir, intelligence suggests they're using unconventional methods." Vex turned to the intelligence officer who had spoken. "Explain." "The humans don't follow standard tactical patterns. They modify their ships in ways our engineers wouldn't consider. They use old mining tunnels our scanners can't penetrate. They repurpose civilian technology for military use. Vex had never failed a mission before. The Council had given him everything he needed: a fleet of warships, elite soldiers, and unlimited authority. Yet these humans remained elusive. "They're just animals," Vex muttered. "Dangerous animals that need to be put down." Half a galaxy away, Anna crouched inside a maintenance tunnel as Council troops searched the trading post above. Beside her, 2 other humans and a Krell trader waited silently. Her communicator vibrated. A text-only message from Thomas. "Transport ready. South dock. 10 minutes." Anna had spent the last 6 months establishing a network of informants and allies throughout the southern spiral arm. While Thomas focused on finding more humans, she worked on gathering supporters among the galaxy's oppressed species. "They're moving toward the central market," whispered the Krell trader, listening to his security feed. "We have a clear path to the docks now." They moved quickly through the tunnels. Anna had memorized the layout of every station they visited. It was another human trait that surprised their allies: the ability to build detailed mental maps after just one viewing. At the dock, a small transport was waiting. The pilot, a 4-armed Trill named Mox, nodded as they boarded. "The Council ships are distracted by a false beacon on the other side of the station," Mox said as they took off. "We have about 20 minutes before they realize it's a trick." Anna smiled. "We only need 5. The ship accelerated away from the station. Once they were clear, Mox activated the masking technology Thomas had designed. Not a true cloaking device, but a system that made the ship register as space debris on most scanners. "Heading to Rendezvous Point 6, Mox confirmed. Anna checked her data pad. 3 more humans rescued. 17 more identified in hidden labs across Council space. The numbers were growing. In a luxury suite on the Council capital world, High Counselor Raz met with a figure dressed in black armor. "The military units have failed," Raz said. "Commander Vex reports the humans are scattered across too many systems to track effectively." The armored figure nodded. The helmet revealed nothing of the face beneath. "That is why you contacted me," the figure said, voice distorted by the helmet speakers. "Yes, Hunter Dex, your reputation precedes you. They say you've never failed to capture a target." Dex was a legend, the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. No one knew what species lurked beneath the armor, but everyone knew the results. If Dex took your contract, your target was as good as caught. "I will need access to all classified files on humans," Dex said, "including the ancient records." Raz hesitated. "Those are sealed by Council order." "Then unseal them. If I am to hunt this prey, I must know it completely." After a moment, Raz nodded. "Very well. But this information does not leave this room." The files were transferred to Dex's secure system. The bounty hunter studied them in silence. "Interesting," Dex finally said. "The Council has not been honest about why humans were eliminated." "That is not your concern," Raz snapped. "Your job is to find and eliminate the current infestation before they spread further." Dex stood. "I will find them. But first, I need to understand why the ancients feared them so much." As Dex left, Raz activated a secure channel to the rest of the High Council. "The hunter has been deployed, but I'm concerned about giving access to the ancient files." "Too late now," another counselor replied. "Just make sure the humans are eliminated before they discover the truth about Earth, about what we did to them." Across the galaxy, the hunt intensified. But the humans were no longer just running. They were planning. The mining colony on Krell 7 had suffered under Council rule for generations. The workers toiled in dangerous conditions, extracting valuable minerals while receiving barely enough food to survive. But today was different. Today, the workers stood tall as the last Council overseer was forced onto a transport ship. "We can't thank you enough," the colony leader said to Thomas. "For generations, we believed we had no choice but to obey." Thomas smiled. "Everyone has a choice. Sometimes they just need help seeing it. Over the past year, human-led rebellions had freed 17 colonies across the Outer Rim, not through violence, but through strategy, technology, and cooperation. On Krell 7, they had modified the mining equipment to work automatically, eliminating the Council's main argument for harsh working conditions. Then they had hacked the colony's communication system, revealing how much profit the Council made while the workers starved. The revolution came from within. The Council never saw it coming. On the Council capital world, emergency alarms sounded in the High Chamber. Another system has declared independence, announced the Security Minister. That makes 23 in total. High Counselor Raz slammed his fist on the table. How is this happening? We control all major weapons systems in the galaxy. An older counselor spoke up. It's not about weapons. These rebellions are different. The humans are helping these worlds become self-sufficient. They're breaking our economic control. Our propaganda isn't working either, added another. We broadcast warnings about the dangers of humans, but the public isn't listening. Stories of human compassion and ingenuity are spreading faster than we can stop them. Raz turned to the military commander. What about the hunter? Has Dex found their leaders yet? Dex reports difficulty. The human named Thomas was tracked to the Chorus system, but when Dex arrived, the human had already left. Somehow they're predicting our moves. Impossible, Raz shouted. No species can outthink our best tactical minds. The chamber doors opened, and a figure entered. Professor Tack, now much older and visibly tired. That's exactly why the ancients feared them, Tack said quietly. I've studied them for years now. Their minds work differently. They see patterns we don't. They imagine solutions we can't. You started this plague. Raz pointed accusingly. Your experiments brought back this menace. Tack nodded sadly. Yes, and I've spent years trying to understand why they were eliminated. I finally found the truth in the ancient archives. The chamber went silent. Even Raz stopped shouting. The records were hidden, but they exist, Tack continued. Humans weren't eliminated because they were violent or aggressive. Many species are worse. They were eliminated because they challenged the established order. They asked questions no one else would ask. What questions? Someone asked. Why does the Council control all faster than light travel? Why are some species permitted to advance while others are kept primitive? Who really built the ancient technology we all depend on? Tack looked around the room. Questions that threatened those in power. Anna stood on the bridge of what had once been a Council cruiser. Now it flew the new flag of the Free Systems Alliance, a coalition of worlds that had declared independence from the Council. Another transmission from Thomas, reported John, who had become their communications expert. He's found something on Proxima Station. Something big. Anna read the message and felt her heart race. Ancient records. Apparently, Earth wasn't destroyed 50,000 years ago. What do you mean? John asked. According to Thomas, Earth was hidden, transformed. The whole solar system was moved and concealed behind some kind of technology we don't understand yet. John stared at her. Are you saying there could be original humans still out there? Anna nodded slowly. Thomas thinks the ancients didn't kill all humans. They imprisoned them. And he thinks he knows where. The ship's navigator entered new coordinates as Anna gave the order. Set course for the coordinates Thomas sent. We're going to find Earth. Across the galaxy, the revolution continued to spread. Not with weapons, but with ideas. And the Council was losing its grip on power for the first time in 50,000 years. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of an unremarkable system. Thomas stood on the bridge, staring at the main view screen with intense focus. Are you sure this is the right place? Asked Mox, who had become one of their most trusted allies. There's nothing special here, just a yellow star with 9 planets. Thomas nodded. This is it. This is the Sol system, our home. For 2 years, Thomas had been piecing together fragments of ancient data. Star maps, historical records, and forbidden texts had led him here, to a system that didn't appear on any official council charts. The third planet, Thomas said, pointing. Earth. The view screen zoomed in on a blue-green world partly covered by clouds. It looked peaceful, pristine, a perfect habitable planet. But something was wrong. No signs of civilization, reported the sensor operator. No cities, no technology, no artificial satellites. It's just empty. Anna frowned. That's impossible. Earth was the birthplace of humanity. Even if everyone was gone, there should be ruins, remains of cities. Thomas tapped commands into his console. No, this fits the pattern. The ancient record said Earth was transformed. Not destroyed, transformed. The small fleet of ships, 3 large cruisers and several smaller vessels, moved closer to Earth. They carried the leaders of the human resistance and representatives from 12 allied species. I'm detecting strange energy readings, John said from his station. Like nothing I've ever seen before. Thomas turned to Anna. We need to go down there. We need to see it with our own eyes. The landing party consisted of Thomas, Anna, John, and 2 of their closest alien allies. As their shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, they all fell silent, overwhelmed by the moment. They were the first humans to return to their ancestral home in 50,000 years. They landed in a clearing surrounded by tall trees. The air was clean, the temperature mild. Birds sang in the distance. It's beautiful, Anna said as they stepped outside. Thomas kneeled and touched the soil. But wrong. This isn't natural. Everything is too perfect. They spent hours exploring, finding no signs of past civilization. No ruins, no ancient roadways, nothing to suggest humans had ever lived here. As the sun began to set, Thomas stopped suddenly. There, he said, pointing to a rock formation that seemed slightly different from its surroundings. That doesn't belong here. The group approached cautiously. Up close, they could see the rock had perfect right angles, not something nature typically created. John ran his scanner over it. It's hollow, and there's technology inside. Thomas placed his hand on the surface. To everyone's surprise, the rock shimmered and a doorway appeared. How did you know? Anna asked. I didn't, Thomas admitted. I just felt it should be there. The passage led deep underground. The walls were smooth, made of a material they couldn't identify. After walking for nearly an hour, they emerged into a vast chamber. By the stars, whispered Mox in awe. The chamber stretched for kilometers in every direction, and filling it were countless rows of pods, transparent containers, each holding what appeared to be a sleeping human. There must be millions of them, John said, his voice breaking with emotion. Anna approached one of the pods. Inside was a man, seemingly in peaceful sleep. They're alive. All of them. In some kind of suspended animation. Thomas moved to a central console. As he approached, it lit up automatically. Information began to scroll across the screen, in human language. This is incredible, he said as he read. Earth wasn't destroyed. It was transformed into a prison. The entire human population was put into suspended animation and hidden away. But why? Asked Anna. Why not just eliminate them if they were so dangerous? Thomas continued reading. According to this, it wasn't the ancients who did this. It was a single species, the Orcs. They manipulated galactic history, presenting themselves as a coalition of ancient races. The Orcs? John frowned. I've never heard of them. Thomas's face grew grim. We have. We just know them by another name. They call themselves the High Council. The truth dawned on them all. The council members weren't representatives of different species. They were all one species, wearing biological disguises, controlling the galaxy from the shadows for tens of thousands of years. The Orcs feared humans because humans could see through their deception, Thomas said. Our brains work differently. We recognize patterns that other species miss. Anna looked around at the millions of sleeping humans. We need to wake them up. The news spread quickly through the Free Systems Alliance. Earth had been found, and with it, millions of original humans in suspended animation. For the newly created humans, it was both exciting and terrifying. They would soon meet their ancestors. The awakening process must be gradual, explained Thomas to the Alliance leaders gathered on their flagship. We can't wake everyone at once. The systems weren't designed for that. The first to be awakened were the scientists and leaders, people whose knowledge might help them understand what had happened 50,000 years ago. Among them was a woman named Lisa, who had been the head of Earth's Defense Council when the Orcs came. They arrived peacefully, Lisa told them, her eyes still adjusting to being open after so long. They said they represented the Galactic Council, a union of advanced species. They offered us technology, knowledge, friendship. But it was a trick, Thomas said. Lisa nodded. They studied us for years. At first, they seemed genuinely interested in cultural exchange. Then they began to fear us. Why? Anna asked. Because we saw patterns in their behavior, inconsistencies in their stories. Some of our scientists realized they weren't multiple species at all. They were one species using biological disguises. Lisa's hands trembled as she spoke. When we confronted them with this knowledge, everything changed. They said humanity was too dangerous to join the galactic community. As more humans awakened, more pieces of the puzzle fell into place. The Orcs had been controlling the galaxy for over 100,000 years, posing as different species to hide their true nature. They had built an empire based on deception. Humans were the only species whose brains could naturally detect their patterns of deception, and that made humans the only real threat to their power. On the Council capital world, chaos reigned. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Humans were awakening by the thousands. The Free Systems Alliance had grown to include over 100 worlds. And worst of all, the truth about the Orcs was spreading. High Counselor Raz, now revealed as an Orcs, raged at his subordinates. Deployed the doomsday weapons. If we can't control the galaxy, we'll destroy it. But the weapons didn't activate. The command codes had been changed. The doors to the high chamber opened. Hunter Dex walked in, helmet removed for the first time. The face beneath was human. Your systems have been compromised, Dex said calmly. Your weapons neutralized. Raz stared in horror. You're one of them. How is this possible? I was awakened years ago by Professor Tack. He found one of the smaller suspension facilities and revived me to learn the truth. Dex smiled slightly. I've been working against you from inside your own system. Raz reached for a hidden weapon, but Dex was faster. The counselor found himself pinned to the wall. The time for violence is over, Dex said. The Alliance fleet is in orbit. Earth's leaders want to talk. Thomas stood in the great hall that had once been the seat of the Orcs Empire. Beside him were Anna, John, and Lisa, representing both the newly created humans and the originals. Across from them sat the revealed Orcs leaders, no longer wearing their disguises. You could have destroyed us, said the Orcs leader, his true form a tall, gray-skinned being with 4 eyes. Why didn't you? Because that would make us what you claimed we were, Thomas replied. Violent, dangerous, unworthy of joining the galactic community. Lisa stepped forward. We offer peace, in exchange for truth and freedom. What do you want from us? Asked the Orcs. Share your knowledge honestly, Thomas said. Help rebuild what you tried to destroy. And never again try to control others through deception. The negotiations lasted for weeks. In the end, a new galactic alliance was formed, one based on truth and cooperation rather than control and fear. As Thomas stood on the observation deck of the Earth ship, watching the stars, Anna joined him. What now? She asked. We've found our past. What about our future? Thomas smiled. We do what humans have always done best. We adapt. We learn. We grow. He looked out at the vast expanse of space. But this time, we're not alone. And we'll make sure no species ever needs to fear another again. Across the galaxy, humanity took its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians against deception and tyranny. The species the ancients feared most had returned, bringing not destruction, but a new beginning for all.